What's crack-a-lackin' team? Back with another watch list for March 6th. I'm going to pull my I haven't ran scans, haven't done a whole lot of review yet. I'm just about getting in the door, just a couple minutes ago. Haven't eaten dinner yet, haven't ran scans, just running a bit behind. So let's do it on here anyways. Catch up on anything we've missed. Palantir bouncing. Turner fizzling out. Jeez. MicroStrategy's on a tear. Damn, that's crazy. Arb boring. See how that acts tomorrow. If we look over here, so you've got this like mid 80s to 90 cent area, and then it was topping out right near $1. So let's see if this starts to track below today's volume tomorrow, and then it starts to act like bag holders are selling pops, or if this is going to start to build back over 90 cents, today's resistance and pre-market support, if this starts to build and base over 90, then you've got shorts trapped looking for a repeat of all these other gap and crap days. And if it starts to build over those levels, it could get moving. Hopefully. BTAI had on a kind of a back burner watch. It had ran from 2 to 6s, put out an offering, so I wasn't really interested in a backside bounce. And then this morning they had a PR and it was gapping up back into prior resistance. So I was just, it wasn't on watch last night, but it was this morning just because they gap up. So I was not looking to dip by it, but looking for like a 4 to 450 para. And if it got up there, I think you could get some offering sellers, some paper, and some bag holder resistance, and just never turned into much. Not a whole lot of juice. GV was a gapper today. Went on a nice run, up over 200%. Swiped into close. So hopefully this one just keeps going. Higher the better. Would love a multi-day runner. Please. CYCU didn't amount to anything. It's another gapper and just faded off. What's going on, Jeff? How you doing? How you doing? So what else we got? Got a few other gainers, but not a whole lot of daily chart patterns. This one's starting to move. Again. TNXP bouncing. Habitual diluter, if it goes on a multi-day run again, something like this. I mean, we got a gap fill up in the 30s. That'd be sexy if it went 11 to 30. Don't love the look of that. I think there's merit to that little 850 breakout. I'll just throw it on the list because there's not a whole lot to watch, so I don't mind putting some lower quality names on there. But if 850 breaks out, I mean, there's no overhead resistance. Could start moving. So I'll keep that on watch. What else we got here? CDXC percent gainer, but only up 50%. Edit starting to perk off a little base there. Edit. I got whacked after hours. What else we got? What's SMCI doing? I haven't pulled up that one in a few days. Meh. Not a whole lot. I've got a scan that runs up 30% over the last month and down 10% over the last week. So something that's gone on a run recently and now has pulled back even more recently. So you get like kind of like those like flagging or pennant type daily charts. That's got 0 results. Bunch of my gainers scans are thin. My fader scans got a bunch. GV percent gainer. ARB is still up, so it's a percent gainer. MASS was a runner yesterday. Squeezed everybody out again today. Not an easy trader. Look at that. Straight up parabolic, round trips, breaks new highs before round tripping and more. That's a tough trader. That is tough. Daily chart wise, probably worth keeping on watch. Because it didn't trade a whole lot of volume today. So if this ever gets back over $4, PRTS percent gainer. What's that one? Meh. Abnormal volume. Acon holding up okay. Anything you guys watching in the chat, or not a whole lot? You guys taking it easy as well? I'm not trading a ton, so AUTL looks like a little multi run. Not a whole lot of range, unfortunately. Like, it just feels like grasping at straws. No trades for Jeff. Well done. Good discipline. It just feels like grasping at straws. Like, there's not a ton out there. And it's moments and times like these in like small cap cycle when it just makes me want to push that much harder. When I'm showing up and it's like I don't have enough screen space, when everything is like jumping out at me as opportunity, and I'm trading them well, but it's not those exponential growth times like they should be, that should be carrying me through these slower periods. And it's times like these where it makes me like, it almost like makes it sink in, where it's like, damn, I gotta be pushing harder in those hot times. Like in December, when I'm trading well day after day, it's like, yes, it was a good month, but it should be a great month. You know what I mean? The old saying, strike while the iron's hot. What are these faders? We got some multi-day faders. Bit light volume. Last scan here for me. Lottery starting to give up the ghost. Things rolling over now. There's no volume on it. But you've got these 120s breakdowns. Only traded 1 million shares today, so whatever. Yeah. So that's enough on that. Let me check out Nate's watch list. I like reading through his stuff. And Nate just saying pre-market was like the peak of his day. He was scalping a bit too much after the open. Yeah, he's saying not A-plus trades, not high confidence trades. So that's nice. You got Kinfo. No, I don't have Kinfo. Years ago, I used Profitly at one point, but I've never been one to post P&L. I don't think that there's a whole lot of value to it. Even when I was learning, I was trading in the Sykes Challenge with Gritani, and a bunch of people would want to know how much he was making, and they'd say it would be like for inspiration purposes or something. I'm like, no, you guys are just nosy wanting to know how much someone's making. I always wanted to know how he was trading, how he spotted the setup, what's the setup, what are his criteria, so that I could take it and do it for myself. When someone says they made 50K, 100K on a trade, what does that offer you? If I tell you how much I made or lost, I didn't place a trade today, but if I tell you how much I made or lost yesterday, it doesn't really matter. Where if I tell you what setups I'm trading, my thought process, I think that provides value. Same thing with you. I don't really care how much you're making. If you can provide value to me via chat or whatever, I don't care what you're making. How many scans do you run a night? Let me see. I can give you a number. My nightly scans, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 different scans. I've gone over them. I can pull up that screen, I think. Let me... 1 second. You can see them. I've gone over them in other evenings before, but I can pull it up here. This one. There we go. You should be able to see that. So these are my scans here. I was running these IPO scan and RVOL scan. Was when China scams were hot, when you're getting those pump and dump names. But now I run breakout potential. That is names that have gone on a run within like the last week and are now holding up near their highs. This one has gone on a run within the last month and has pulled back over the last week. So that's more of a bigger picture. And then this one is something that has gone on a run either today or in the last week, but is in smaller cap range. Strong gainers is just percent gainers from today. Faders is just percent losers from today. And then this one is recent runners, similar to breakout potential, but I don't remember the difference. Ran over the last week. Week is down 10%, but the 20-day higher low, so like the range over the last 20 days is 50%, but it's pulled back over the last week. And then breakout potential has ran over the last month. So it's up over the last month, but is up still near its highs. So I run those ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 scans. Let me go back to my DAS. There we go. How do you borrow locates efficiently, like just before shorting, or what does your process look like? Personally, most of my plans are either coming from pre-market scan, which I'll run between like 7:30 Eastern, and then I'll check back in around 8:30, 9 o'clock. So before the market open, I've got a list of gainers, but 90% of the trades that I take are from the night before. So if something is gapping, let's see. Do I have any short watches? Like GV, for example, if this thing were to be gapping up 70% or more tomorrow, I'd be willing to locate this at 8 a.m. So it'd be plenty before the market open. Same thing with Master. This thing's now run 1-2 days. If this were to blow off gap tomorrow and Bitcoin were to agree, start pulling back, this one's easy to borrow, but I'd be prepared to short this well before the market opens. So typically when I'm borrowing, the plan has come from the night before, so I'm prepared to borrow it well before the market opens. I usually try to get an idea of what my dollar risk, what I want it to be on that given day, and then kind of use the day's range as a guide. So something like Master, if I was looking to short it today, and if I was shorting at 246, a failed follow through setup, and risking off 254, that would be $8 of risk. How much dollar risk would I want to have on the table if I'm risking $8 a share? And then give a little bit of room on the borrow side. So if you're risking $8, maybe you want to risk $800 on this trade. Then you'd put on 100 shares, risking $8 a share. You'd be risking $8. Would be an $800 risk. So if you're wanting to trade $100, then maybe I'd borrow 300 to 500 shares, so that on a starter position can risk $800, and then maybe here, maybe I'm shorting another low a day breakdown and moving risk to VWAP, and now I can scale into that position. And now instead of 100 shares, now maybe I've got 300 or 400 shares, moving risk down to my average and being able to scale into that winner. So I kind of use my dollar risk as a guide for how much, and for what I want to short comes from the watch list the night before. How do we chat? I'm in Investors Underground every day. So that's a service that I tend to vouch for. I don't have a Discord for myself. I did start one a while ago, just because people in chat were asking for one. But it was kind of a flash in the pan. Most people stopped using it, which I find is pretty typical with Discord services. So I'm on Twitter, D22123. I think in the description of this video, the first link is my Investors Underground, where you can find me there. Second link is my X, my Twitter handle. So you can check those two links down in the description. Typically where I chat, hey Dawson, how much does market being risk on or off matter to your trades, or the general flow of runners? So typically I'm open to whatever the overall market wants to do in terms of small cap. Typically when markets are in a risk-on environment, even if the overall markets are pulling back and you see VIX going nuts, then we're still in a high volatility environment that typically that trickles down to small cap, and there's some sector that still has attention. There's that maximum dollar block I talk about in the markets. That's like how much retail as a whole has money-wise that they can pour into the markets. I think retail and traders are gamblers at heart. So they don't like to have money out of the markets. They just like to move from one thing to the next. So typically risk on markets are better for day trading. But as long as I have daily chart patterns in small caps, like if Acon were to start to come in and start to break out through 850s, no matter what the overall markets are doing, I'd still trade that small cap chart pattern. Stim, for example, was a breakout here through $5, went 5 to 6. So markets are pulling back. People are less risk on right now. They're a bit more risk averse. So I'm a bit more to the long side. I'm a bit more proactive in my sells. Even same things with short. Like Master is running up into bag holder resistance. But if you're trading, where was I? Was it yesterday? I think right here. So like Master, for example, yesterday I was trading the failed fall through setup here through 246. So if I'm trading this failed fall through setup and people aren't in a risk on environment, I'm covering here, reshorting, covering, and moving on. Like I'm a lot more proactive in the covers and not so much big picture. Where when SPY is charging and at all-time highs, when it's up here, people are a lot more likely to be letting trades work and not be so skittish. So in terms of the general flow of runners, when markets are weak and they're in channels like this, where like if you zoom out over like the last 2 days, it's range bound. But if you have like the SPY going from 580 to 550 in a day, then that's still it's still like a risk on environment to me, where people are panic selling. You've got a bunch of shorts piling into that. I think it's still an advantageous trading environment. But when stuff is choppy, sideways, range bound, yeah, I'll answer for him a ton. Was I rambling on a bit too much? Sorry. But I think, yeah, sorry if I'm rambling on a bit much. I'm passionate about trading and stuff, so if we've ever met in person, I know I met a bunch of guys out in New Hampshire recently, and same thing with Ariel. Like if you get me on a topic that I'm passionate about, I'll ramble on for a while, and certain things in trading are that. So, but yeah. So as of right now, I'm not super risk on. I'm not trading a whole bunch. I'm just kind of keeping a pulse day after day so that I'm not out of tune with the market. But yeah. So as far as tomorrow goes, if Master were to go parabolic and get like a big gap up, I could see MSTZ being a nice trade on a big gap down. Especially if Bitcoin and the overall market agree. ARB, see what this thing wants to do tomorrow. See which way out of this channel. If it starts to fail below 75, I think odds favor a quiet fader. Traders take it off watch. And if it starts to build over 90, I think it could trap shorts and get some momentum. GV, just hoping for this thing to go on a multi-day run. Hasn't done it before. It's been a while. Been a bunch of one and dones, so I'm hopeful for this to just go higher the better. If this can put in another green day tomorrow, then I'd be more interested in Friday short. Wouldn't really want to trade it tomorrow. Acon, just kind of setting price alerts in that 850 range. No real plan right now. And Mass, same kind of thing. No real plan right now. It's still in day one's range from like 4 to 320. So wait for it to break out of there. But just a lot of waiting on my end. What I'm happy about is the decline in the Canadian dollar. I'm trading, making money in USD. Living Canada is cool. You want it to go even lower? Crazy, man, crazy. I personally like whatever I make in, because I still carry the day job that makes money in Canadian. I don't need to pull money out of my trading accounts to live. So anything I make in my trading account, for me to transfer it into my investment account, I need to because I trade at a different broker. So if I wire out of my day trading account at Centerpoint and wire in to Interactive Brokers, which is my long-term account, I do that conversion. So it's not super advantageous for me when the dollar's like this. So like making money in the day trading account, making 40% is nice. But for me to pull it out of my day trading account and then put it into my long-term investments, which is my typical process, that's not super nice because I need to convert and then convert again. So I prefer it to be close to par because I'm not living off of my trading income. It's just a wealth building tool for me. So unless I were to sell and wire out, but let me finish reading what Nate was saying. Bitcoin Catalyst on Friday with Sailor. Yeah, Nate's saying not a ton of A+. He's just kind of doing idea generation, which is kind of where I'm at. Some similar thoughts there from Nate. MTS was holding 35K of MLGO at 11 cents before the parabolic to $1 and the reverse split. So when'd you sell? Yeah, as far as Nate's thoughts go, basically same thing as Arb. He'll want to see levels looking left build. He's saying possible like 120 move, 150. Love Canada. Sorry about your press. Hey, whatever moves markets, I'm all for it. Let's see, what else is Nate watching? Same kind of thing at Mass. So we've got the same kind of thoughts with Arb and Mass. Where Mass, you got to see it break out of a range. Could liquidity trap, volume dried off, but I need to see it over 4. And if it fizzles out, he won't watch it. Same kind of thing with Arb, but need to see looking left levels build. Could have shorts in there. He's got a bunch of large caps. Talking possible squeeze out into close. Maybe squeeze shorts. So they're all covered there. And so the higher this thing gaps, the more likely I think it fades. But typically with gappers, I'm looking to short like a 60-70% gap. So see where it's at by the morning. Shorted it at 442. Nice. I believe you. I believe you. You don't have to prove your entries to me. If you say it, then... If you say it and you're lying, then you're just crazy. So I'm just going to take your word for it. And you say you shorted it, then nice trade. I'd be hoping it goes higher tomorrow. Bigger the gap, the better. But, alrighty, I think we should wrap it up there so I can go and grab some dinner. Top a bit into after hours. Nice mark. Yeah, congrats. Nice trade. Any other last little comments anyone wants to touch on? Otherwise, I'd like to wrap it up and hop off. But I appreciate the chat. For evenings where I don't have a ton on watch, it's a bit more active there today for me. So see where we're at tomorrow, but we can wrap it up there. Thank you guys for coming on in. And yeah, I will see you guys in the room. Trade them well. Don't force anything. If it's slow out there for you, then take it slow. No problem with it. Alrighty. Have a good evening, guys. See you again tomorrow. Peace.